the DORK podcast. With Rich Keefe, it's the DORK podcast. And Davey, it's the DORK podcast. Hashtag, it's the hashtag DORK podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Davey Downloads. He is Davey Deep Dick. He is Razzle Von Dazzle. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
I'm just alive with pleasure today, Richard.
Good.
Alive with pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how are you? How are you on this fantastic long weekend?
Doing all right.
Just doing okay.
Doing pretty great myself.
I'm taking some issue with you, by the way. You couldn't just let a typo go last night, could you? You had to light me up on Twitter.
I had to fucking get in there and put you in your place.
You did, because I put in. Actually, I'm gonna lie to you and tell you that I put the Y in, but I didn't. It was like I was so frustrated with the play of Jason Tatum that I spelled his name incorrectly, and you were the first person to call me out on it.
Yeah, well, no,
fucking Richie Grammar over here.
You had a good tweet, no, because you said I love Jason Tatum as much as the next guy. I was like, no, you don't. It's Jayson.
Yeah.
Programming note, not this Monday, or is it not even the next Monday? But there's a NBA Finals game on a Monday, so we'll probably adjust our time accordingly coming up. It is not this coming. It's not a week.
It's a week. God willing, it's a week from this coming Monday.
Yes,
because it starts on Thursday, right?
Yeah,
it goes like Thursday, Sunday.
Then, they have a lot of days off in between this whole series now coming up. So we'll figure it out. We'll keep you abreast of the situation. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Dork Podcast for all of the latest there. But Ryan, we have a jam-packed episode.
Damn it! Don't we ever?
Perhaps a polarizing episode based on I just did like a little sprinkle on Twitter and the reaction was pretty mixed. So
it's mixed.
I think it's going to be interesting discussion. But right now we have this.
This week in Dork. Yeah.
All right, now here's the deal. Because of 2 basketball games in the last couple of days and the 2 topic du jour episodes we're going to be discussing, I've only had a chance to watch 1 episode of Stranger Things season 4. 7 of them are out right now. How many have you seen?
4.
Oh, nice. I'll tell
Maybe
you,
the weekend.
I'm real early in the process, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm a Stranger Things fan.
You will get frustrated at certain things.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one thing that's pretty glaring that's frustrating, and then there's one that's I think it's my personal taste that I'm like that's kind of stupid, but like it's good. It's good. I'm glad they put that warning ahead of episode 1. That was pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Well,
the horror themed violence in this is gnarly. Well, all the breaking. I'm not going to give it away. The breaking of bones is, to me, pretty harrowing.
And they put so much money into it that you kind of knew, all right, it can't just be for like a creature. Like they're also going to get into some like the violence and some of the crazy. Like they're upping the horror, they're upping the intensity a little bit. But yeah, just 1 episode in. I mean, it's similar to Star Wars to me, and obviously it's very inspired by Star Wars, where like. I love the world. I love the characters. So I just want to see like kind of where they're going. And even though, a couple of years ago, I was like, yeah, I probably don't need any more Stranger Things. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm in. And I can't wait to get a free 6 hours and watch the rest of the season.
And there's a lot of, you're going to run into, there's a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street, a lot of Evil Dead, a lot of those elements that we dabbled into some sci-fi-ish. This is straight horror, which is, I think it was missing a little bit. In the last season.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm looking forward to that very much. All right, they had the big Star Wars celebration between our last episode and this episode, and they just unloaded a whole bunch of announcements, including there's going to be a show called Tales of the Jedi, which is going to be animated shorts about Jedi from the prequels that is going to come out this fall on Disney Plus.
Is it all the prequels? Because they said it. Yeah, it's the prequels and before. Because they said they all feature a prominent Jedi.
Yaddle?
We could get some Yaddle, but I know the one the screen cap they showed was Ahsoka as a baby.
Yeah, right? from what I've read, is it sounds like it's definitely going to be a lot of Ahsoka Tano and Ahsoka Tano's mom, and then also a young Count Dooku before he goes dark. So even if it's just those two. I'm in. I'm interested in that. Yeah. I'm all aboard that. And shorts too. So What do you think that is, like 15
I love
minutes?
animated. Yeah, I love good animated shorts.
Yeah. The Mandalorian season 3, and many of you thought it was just the Book of Boba Fett, but no, the Mandalorian season 3 is ready for February. So gotta wait a while because I feel like it didn't it come out in December originally, and then it was December, and then they did Book of Boba Fett in December, or maybe I feel like one of them was in December.
It was definitely in the winter.
Okay.
Like I remember there being snow and
So
watching
February.
yeah.
All right,
So
we can
February,
wait.
January, somewhere in there. It's a winter show.
We can wait. We got Mando, Grogu. I can wait on that.
Can wait on that.
What do you think of the announced Skeleton Crew series? Bones are their money, the worms are their dollars.
Right.
Jude Law in this.
I don't know. I go back and forth on Jude Law. He's in some really good things and some pretty fucking terrible things.
What's the best Jude Law thing? Turns out he's only in terrible things.
No. I'm trying to think of like because it's one of those things that hang on.
You know what Jude Law movie I kind of liked? Closer.
I did like that. Don't say Alfie. I did not like Alfie.
I'm not gonna say Alfie.
Closer was good.
Closer was pretty intense.
I've heard the new Pope is good. He was good in Captain Marvel.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't really a Jude Law movie, but yeah, I mean, I guess he was in that.
Wasn't he in a Rise of the Guardians? Oh, that Anna Karenina. That was a movie.
We're getting Sherlock Holmes in the chat. Sherlock Holmes in the chat.
Sherlock Holmes was great.
Yeah.
Sleuth was good. I like Sleuth. I don't know if you saw that.
I've not seen.
It was him and Michael Caine.
Well, of course.
It was a really good movie, but
apparently
directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Despite starring Jude Law, it's focused on a group of 10-year-olds who get lost in the Star Wars universe, which is basically Star Wars Stranger Things, I guess.
So is it the kids from that planet from
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, the kids who are like force sensitive, who are, with the gambling planet there. Enemy at the Gates. That movie was tits.
Oh, Enemy at the Gates. Good call.
Vasily Zaitsev. That movie was awesome.
Enemy at the Gates was good.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Thank you, Lex and Josh. That was
They didn't release too much more on Skeleton Crew, but they did for some reason release the intro song.
The bones are their money, so are the worms. They pull your hair up, but not out to turn into a man and have another chance at life. But if they pull it out, they turn to bones.
Willow.
Can't wait to hear that. Yeah.
Every week. Now that's an intro you won't skip right there.
Mm-hmm.
Willow, starring Warwick Davis. This is a George Lucas produced film from 1988, directed by Ron Howard.
And Ron Howard is back. He's back in the full. He's executive producing or directing an episode, or is it a movie?
It's good question because they had the trailer out there. These were all shows.
I think it's a show. You're
right. It is. It is a 100% TV show, but it's going to serve as a sequel. And it's scheduled to come out November 30th of this year.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for Will.
Are you?
That might be the next pizza. Well, we've started pizza and movie night with the girls. They're at the age now. I think I've told you this. So Friday night we do pizza and movie. So we've done Princess Bride. They wanted to do Jurassic Park, and there were some tears.
Yeah,
they were scared. But I think Willow might be.
Willow.
Yeah,
you could go Willow for sure.
I could go Willow. Yeah.
So those are some of the announcements there. Also coming out. How about this? Another Indiana Jones movie starring Harrison Ford is in the works.
Like pushing him around in a wheelchair. Remember him running in The Force Awakens? It was bad. Like he can't move. He's like almost 80 years old. How old is Harrison Ford? He's my guess. What's your Price is Right guess?
All right, I haven't looked it up.
I haven't looked it up. I'm looking it up now.
You look it up. I'll say 77 is my guess.
He is 79 years old.
Oh, I would have won a lot of.
You would have won. You would have a lot of money.
I would have won on that.
He's 80 years old. Like, stop it.
And the problem is, too, the fourth Indiana Jones movie is one of the worst movies ever made.
Was that the Crystal Skull? Was that what?
Yes, ever made. Horrible. And it looks like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Mads Mikkelsen are going to be.
Mads Mikkelsen.
I like both of them, and James Mangold is directing it.
Okay.
Yeah, he of course
is LeBeouf back in it? Monsieur LeBeouf.
Let's see. I don't know, but this is rough. I don't need another Indiana Jones movie
unless there's some like Ark of the Covenant style crate underneath the nursing home. I don't during bingo. I don't know.
Get it. But that seems to be the new trend, is to dust off an old property and bring it back. Including,
so when is this? Sorry, just doing age. When is this going to take place? In like the 70s?
Let's see. The 5th movie, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot.
Because I'm trying to just do the math. Like it has to take place in like the 70s or 80s at this point.
Right. I don't know.
The Germans still around?
Who's this versus?
Who is this? Who are we doing this versus?
I don't know.
The Germans aren't around anymore.
No, they gotta find somebody else for.
If it's 80s, we gotta go Russians, right? They're always the bad guys.
Yeah, that makes sense. Indiana Jones to get after them a little bit. But speaking of bringing back an old property and dusting it off, I unfortunately did not have a chance to see it this weekend. A lot of people did. I've heard a lot of good things. Did you see Top Gun Maverick?
No, I didn't. I actually was, as we were kicking off the podcast, I was watching the old Top Gun, which I feel like I need to refresh it. I don't want to go in there lost to like.
That'd be a good pizza and movie night with the girls.
Little Top Gun.
Good.
That movie rules. Whatever happened to Tom Skerritt, by the way?
Oh, good question.
Is he dead?
Yeah, Tom Skerritt may not be with us.
He was great in that movie. Let's see, Tom Skerritt.
Oh,
he's 88. He's still kicking around.
Doing great.
88 years old.
Great. He's doing awesome.
God love you. God love you.
He's doing awesome. But I do want to see this movie, and people have said that it's pretty good. Obviously, this is a theater movie, or a if you happen to have a good home theater, you need to blow out the speakers for Top Gun Maverick. Yeah,
can't wait to see it. I'm really excited to see this movie, actually.
And then Ryan, we had some sad news since the last time we talked.
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb.
Legendary actor Ray Liotta passed away, 67 years old, not old enough, not nearly old enough.
No.
And a guy who early in his career did Goodfellas, and then after that, it's going to be impossible to top being in a movie like Goodfellas, but had a really good run and is in a lot of really good movies like Copland and Smoking Aces. And obviously he was in fucking Field of Dreams even before Goodfellas, but he has like a nice filmography. He was popping up and stuff. He was working in a bunch of things now. That was the thing. He was down in Dominican Republic filming a movie. He's got like 3 movies coming out. He's been a good working actor. I've always liked when I've seen him, and unfortunately, last week passed away.
And sneaky, one of the singular greatest video game voiceover jobs I have ever heard. Ray Liotta in Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah,
he was like a Tony You actually became like Tony Montana in it, but he was amazing in that. So, yeah, like a guy who was in a ton of movies. I think he fell in like. Basically, the joke was, we don't want to make jokes about the dead here, but like basically, if there was a movie involving Italian gangsters, like there was a handful of people who would always be in it, and Ray Liotta was one of them.
You had to get him in there. He was also great in Heartbreakers, which was one of my favorite movies for a long time, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt, squarely in her prime. The movie Blow, which was a really good, based on a true story, the Johnny Depp movie. He was a drug dealer in North America, just in good old Weymouth, Mass. And he played the dad. So he played like a different role. Like he played like a super good guy.
Yeah. More famous people from Weymouth, Massachusetts.
George Young?
George Young. Yeah.
George Young, Charlie Coyle, Ryan Davey.
There you go.
We need one
all these famous people from Weymouth. Yep. To make a Rushmore with South Shore Hospital.
Correct.
There was a sneaky. He was in a movie with Jason Statham, which was directed by Guy Ritchie, a movie called Revolver, which I really, really like. Not a lot of people like that movie. I really like that movie. Has got Andre 3000 in it, and
yeah. I remember that one. That was it was kind of odd.
It was odd, but I liked it. Mr.
He was also in Hannibal, which. People shit on Hannibal. I thought it was decent. Like, it's obviously not going to be as good as Silence of the Lambs. And I think that's the big issue. It's like, if your expectation was Silence of the Lambs, it wasn't going to be that.
A great death. Ray Liotta in that movie as well. How he goes.
Yeah. I mentioned it on the air that day. I don't know if it was tasteful or not, but it's like, they literally fed him his own brains.
He fed him his own brains.
Yeah.
Yep. because there's no nerve endings in the brain, so you can actually do open. Most brain surgeries done when people are awake.
That's fucking gross, and like that blows my mind. Every time you see that in the movie or like a TV show, I'm just like, I don't get in there.
I remember it was something in high school. They were showing us. They were like talking about this, and they were showing this video of this guy getting his brain worked on, and they would take like electrostim things and touch part of his brain, and like they would touch part of it, and like his mouth would open, like and his tongue would like go aside. Like,
not for me.
It's amazing. Human body's a wonderful thing.
It's fucking outrageous. I know it doesn't work this way, but I feel like if I cut your skull and removed your skull, you should just be dead.
Right.
You should be. That's how. That's
in theory, you should. You die that way.
That's enough for you to die. Like I'm holding your skull, rather than like, let me go in there, tweak a couple things, fucking put that thing back on like a helmet, and you can get out there.
It's just like a hat.
No, that fits. I mean, it's yours,
right?
But anyway, sad about Ray Liotta.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, do you want me to like agree with you there? Like, yeah, that's sad.
This is a horrible transition.
Young man, smoker. So,
okay,
don't smoke. Yeah.
Say no to smoke.
Right. Say no to it. If someone offers you, do kids even smoke anymore?
So. I don't think so.
I was fascinated. Say no to
smoke. If you're getting peer pressure out there, say no to smoke and tell them it's not good for you.
No, butts are in seats, not in your mouth.
Yeah. Well, depends on what month it is. What season is it?
It's always Ray Liotta.
But
so I was, kids don't even dip anymore. Like I coach hockey. Like no, it's not even like a thing anymore.
What are they? Were they just healthy now?
Like, oh my God, I was telling
what are they
stories.
Doing?
My brother used to pack lip all the time. Like, and then he got into like uppers. Like, you started like pat like, and it's like I never did it. I never. I dipped twice in my life. Threw up so much.
I didn't touch it.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Friend of mine, you've met him. Actually, you probably said. Remember, he did skull like every day. He did skull, and he got the word skull, like the logo, tattooed on the inside of his lip. And so he shows up to football practice one day. And we're standing there like on the side getting ready to do whatever. And he's like, hey, look at this. And he like puts his lip on. And half the kids are like, whoa, crazy. And I looked at him with the disappointment only like a father could have. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, what? I go, that's awful.
That's awful.
You're going to have that. That's terrible. And he's like, and he everybody else was so excited. But he saw me, he was just like, yeah.
I remember in high school, it was such a big thing that like, because obviously you couldn't smoke because it smelled, so the kids would dip like all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember hanging out with this girl, and a girl she lived in a dorm with, who was a very attractive girl. I'll tell you her name off air. I'll remind you of who she was, like off air. But I just walk into their room, and this girl's just like
wait, in high school?
Yeah, like this super attractive girl, and she's just like spitting into a cup. I'm like, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I never looked at her the same again.
Oh yeah, Max. He says we all know someone who swallowed dip. My college football coach literally did. It was like at first you weren't sure he was doing it, but you're like he clearly had a lip in. He had no spit or anything, and then you're like looking at him, and you're like, and he's just swallowing it like it's no big deal. I'm like, that can't be good for the tummy.
So the second time I ever dipped this is a true story. The second time I ever dipped in my life, there was a period in my life where I went by the alias Johnny Hundo. If you don't know if you remember this, I would basically do anything you asked me to do for $100. So
anything.
So one of my roommates said, there was living in Waltham at the time, and he said, I'll give you $100. He's like, you have to keep a dip in for an hour. And I said, okay. And he goes, but I get to pinch it. Like I get to.
Oh no! So it's just like the biggest load.
It was half the tin, and he's like, "There you go." And I had to put it. It was all over, like the whole bottom row of my mouth. And I sat there for about 30 minutes, and I was looking straight ahead, and I was complete flop sweat. Like I was just sweating, like because
you okay?
But they kept asking. They were sitting to my right and left, and they kept asking me if I was all right to get me to turn my head. Because as soon as you turn your head or you stand up, that's when you start getting the spin. So I would turn my head, and my head would turn, and then my eyes would be like 2 seconds after.
You get that $100?
Oh my God, I did, but oh my God, the amount of I threw up was.
What'd you do with the $100?
What do you mean? What I do with the $100? I bought a log of Grizz, guy. Straight cut, long cut Grizz. No, I can't even smell that shit anymore. I hate
That's a good investment.
I hate it.
Yes. Turn around and buy more of it. You don't even like it. Like, yeah,
No, I probably owed someone rent money at that point.
It's your money.
So, yeah.
Actually, I lit it on fire right in front of those guys. Tell them because fuck you. That's why.
It's like, this is what I owe you for utilities for the month. Keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ray Liotta.
Even if it takes more than a minute.
When we can't transition out of something, that should be the thing. That's all right.
It's honestly, it's
Ray Liotta.
not a podcast built to mourn the loss of somebody. It's not what this is for. We have all the respect in the world for Ray Liotta, but
anyway,
I don't know. Anyway,
Ray Liotta. All right, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at 47 Brand Hats. You know what, Richard? You know what season it is? It's not ass eating season, but you know what season it is?
Not yet. It isn't.
It's the summertime.
It's
right. Not officially summer yet, but it's the weather out there is summer. So you know what you're gonna need?
What's that?
A hat.
Yeah. Oh, it blocks the sun.
Yeah, blocks the sun, makes you look cool.
You don't have to do your hair in the morning.
Don't have to do your hair in the morning. Now,
that kind of thing.
Also, we got a local basketball team vying for a championship. Why don't you buy yourself some gear? If you don't have a Celtics hat yet, I got a sweet one for the people at 47 Brand. Use the promo code #DORK. Yourself 25% off.
Great point. Get your Celtics gear for the run here.
Seriously.
Get it for the run. And by the way, their shipping is so goddamn quick, and the finals is going to be stretched out so long. You order it now, you're going to have it for probably every.
Why? You know why?
Why's that?
Fucking local company. That's why.
Support local.
You support local. There we go. All right. So, speaking of the Star Wars thing, one of the cool things out of that was a teaser for Fallen Order Survivor.
Saw that.
Yes. Now there is some speculation. Right? Who's in the tank? Who is that in the tank?
Yaddle.
It's not Yaddle.
Fuck.
So I tweeted out a thing. You can go look at it if you want. Who I want there. But then I was reading. These are the people I want it to be. And then someone made a really good point. It could be Starkiller from Force Unleashed.
Interesting.
Because he has
pretty cool
lightning scars. So he would have tangled with a Sith before. Now, if you don't remember, you didn't play the Force Unleashed games. That was Darth Vader's secret apprentice.
Like that.
Who actually, in one of the coolest parts of the game, you actually pulled down a, was that a Star Destroyer?
Yeah.
You actually pull it down like with the Force. It takes you like 5 minutes to do it.
Awesome.
But it's one of the coolest parts of the game. And a dual lightsaber wielder, like Ahsoka Tano. And he does it where they're like flipped around. Looks fucking sick.
Oh,
so if that's him, and then we bring that combat back in, because I think, and I don't like using this word, I don't know, it sounds kind of shitty, but like I think it's canon.
Right. I think it was one of those things that it started out that it wasn't, and now they're trying to like figure out a way to make it that it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So there could be where like Darth Vader tried to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And how it would make sense that if Cal Kestis meets up with him and learns how to like beat him.
Right.
Because you don't even try to fight him, which is the coolest part of the Force. Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Is when Vader shows up, you run. You can't fight him.
He's the best.
Scared shitless. It's
he's
the best.
Goddamn best.
Yeah, he's the goddamn best. All right, so there's that. So you'll like this. So someone, one of the lead creative developers from Gotham Knights, was doing a Q&A.
Yeah.
And he came out, and they had to change Barbara Gordon's bio in the game, which was a little basically they mentioned that she became disabled and became Oracle, and then just decided one day to not be in a wheelchair anymore and become Batgirl. And people are like, you can't.
It's not how it works.
You can't do that.
That's
or somehow alluding to the fact that like she wasn't
good
because so they had to rework that. And then they actually directly addressed the glider and Jason Todd's jumping ability.
Yeah.
And he kind of went into this whole thing. They understand, but he kind of tried to give you the reasons why, they were doing those things. And it had to do with Jason Todd coming back from the dead, and being put into the Ra's al Ghul goop,
Lazarus
the Lazarus pit, and discovering new abilities, like remembering abilities he used to have and discovering new abilities, and some of them coming from the Lazarus pit and all that. So Julie, I know Julie. So at least they're like, look, we know this is weird. We know this is a weird game mechanic, but it is what it is. So like if Tim Drake and Barbara Gordon can glide, how are we going to get these other two guys to do it?
Yeah, I understand you got to get a move in, but I don't know why you couldn't just do like a grappling gun.
And I think they all have that too.
But like be kind of, I don't mind if they're kind of like, like it doesn't have to like abide by science. And you can be like, all right, basically have them glide the way Batman and Spider-Man do in their games. Get us from A to B, but it's going to be more about the hand-to-hand combat with Red Hood than flying around the city.
Shooting guns. Or just keep them on the ground, like you said.
Or keep them on the ground, get them a motorcycle or something.
Get them a grapple gun, but keep them on the ground.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. So it's been leaked that there's some Cyberpunk 2077 DLC coming. You fucking psyched for that?
I am not.
Not a person I know in the world who's excited for that. That game is an absolute, just let it go.
It's a big fuck.
You fucked up. And remember, if you ever think you're useless, remember that there was a special edition PlayStation 4 Cyberpunk 2077, which that system can't even run the game. So remember, if you ever think you're useless,
you're down.
Remember that. So interesting too. So Mario Strikers. Have you heard of this? Are you familiar with this?
No.
You're not in on this, or you're not familiar with it?
I've been off the grid for a while. I'm honestly not.
So it's so Mario Strikers is a soccer game, which doesn't really play like soccer, but with the Mario team, the Mario characters. And get this, you can now have a club with up to 20 people on it. So we might be getting the band back together to play some Mario soccer. How about a DLG, the Dorks DLG soccer club on Mario Strikers?
DSG. I don't know what you think DLD stands for.
I didn't say DLD, did I?
I think you said DLD.
I don't know. I think I'm having a stroke. But I meant DSG. I don't know why I said DLD.
Dork League Ginger Ale.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Or like maybe I'm thinking MLG. I don't know.
What's MLG?
Major League Gaming. I don't know. Who knows any of these things? Speaking of Mario and playing Mario games with each other.
Yes.
Ready for this?
I am ready.
What did I tell you was going to happen? What did I tell you as soon as the spike box started rolling in? What did I tell you was going to happen?
You're probably going to find that game. Boom.
There the fuck it is.
Davey
there it is.
The Mario Kart 8 that eluded us.
It was in Plymouth, Massachusetts at my mother-in-law's summer house. I don't know how this happened. Actually, I know exactly how this happened because my kids lost it. But there it is. And look, so if you don't have a Switch, look at I'm going to put it next to my thumb.
Oh, it's tiny. The game is tiny.
It's tiny.
It's look at it.
It's the size of my thumb, basically. So we found it. Now, here's what's going to happen. I don't know how we're going to do this, but this is something we're going to tie this in with our 300th WEI episode next week. Because we do not want the spike bucks to go to waste, and because I'm too lazy to go through all of the Venmos to give you your money back.
No, we're not. There's no refunds on spike bucks.
There's no refunds on spike bucks. What we are going to do is Rich and I are going to come up with some sort of giveaway.
Yes.
Which I will sign the box of this game that was empty for so long and send this to you. I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to figure it out though. It's
good. If you don't have the game and you want the game, it's great. If you just enjoy the podcast and you want some sort of memorabilia, we can make it an NFT, for God's sake.
We can make it an NFT. But one of the ideas that was had by my wonderful significant other, she said, whoever does the best impression of Rossi's worst take, videos it, sends it to us. That's an idea. It's an idea.
That is an idea.
I wanted some charitable aspect to it, but like,
or I was gonna say, if you swallow it right now, I'll give you $100. Johnny Hundo out of retirement.
Can I wash it down with a long drink?
You can. Davey just ate a Switch game.
I'm gonna crap it out and then send it to you.
They asked the listener for $60 and then they swallowed the game. Yeah, no, that's good. So we'll figure something out and we'll get that out there. Somebody. And by the way, you had a great nickname off air for Rossi, which I think we now have to call him going forward.
So we have to call him. He's now Mushrooms.
Jason Mushrooms
Rossi. Why? Shiitake mushrooms. Shit take mushrooms.
The guy's full of shiitakes.
He's full of shiitake. So he's now Jason Mushrooms Rossi.
This is This Week in Horrible Rossi Takes.
By the way, you can check out Rossi and Billy D on the Pop Culture Pile Driver podcast.
Mushrooms.
Check out Mushrooms and Billy D over at the Pop Culture Pile Driver podcast. Shiitake specifically.
Mushrooms and Bill. Mushrooms and Bill show.
Oh, you know Billy's gonna come up with some awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. Can you
Billy
just make? Can you please turn Jason Rossi into Toad from Mario? This Jason Mushrooms Rossi.
Here he is, folks. Jason Mushrooms Rossi. The shiitakes. It's amazing. Oh, yeah, by the way, so our 300th episode is next week, so we got to figure out some stuff that we want to do. I do think as a hat, we should do like a 5-minute review of Jessica Jones season 3.
Okay, I mean I have to fucking watch it.
No,
again.
Oh, you never watched it?
I watched like how many episodes? Is it like 12 episodes?
Yeah, no. We don't. No. You have to rewatch it. We'll figure something out.
Don't. Let's watch a fucking. I'll tell you, I'm gonna watch it and then watch like a 10-minute recap on YouTube.
Yeah, right. All right, well, that's very good, Ryan. Let's get to
47 brand hats. Use the promo code #DORK.
All right, very good, very good.
Y'all ready for bisque?
Topic is your time. Well, I'm glad you asked. It's the topic.
You didn't ask me. You never asked me anything.
Y'all ready for this?
Are you ready for the topic du jour? Is usually the lead into that.
You got to assume that the board is also talking to you. He said, "Y'all ready for bisque?"
But do you usually follow that up with like, "Are you ready for the topic du jour?" And I have some quippy thing that I say, and then you say, "Well, I'm glad you asked."
I am glad you asked. And today, it's the topic of the day, and it is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Part 1 and 2. It is a 6-part miniseries on Disney Plus. First part ran 55 minutes, second 41 minutes. And then it's going to be released weekly until the end of said miniseries. So we'll begin as we always do with our movie and TV reviews, spoiler free. Ryan, do you like it?
So far, so good.
Really?
What about you?
I think it sucks. I think it's shocking. I think it fucking sucks out loud. I think we've talked about this a lot because there was the announcement, there was like a teaser, there was a trailer, there was like some images. So we've talked about it on the podcast a lot. I was more excited about this than any Marvel movie. I was more excited about this than any TV show. My favorite thing, and you were just alluding to it in the Fallen Order game, the time in the Star Wars universe between episode 3 and episode 4, where Darth Vader is the fucking scariest thing in the galaxy. Mm-hmm. I love that, and I want more of it. And so when they announced the show, you're like, great, 6 episodes, fine. I don't need it to be a million. Make 6 good episodes and tell like this story. I am all aboard the hype train, and I still reserve the right to end up liking the series because there's still 2/3 of it remaining.
Good. Yeah.
So oh my God, I'll be watching this as soon as it comes out. I'm still going to watch it. But these 2 episodes in particular, to me, reminded me very much of the prequels with some of the acting, some of the storyline, some of the dialogue, some of like these other characters besides Obi-Wan Kenobi. Mm-hmm. So I was just let down, but I fully admit my expectations were through the fucking roof.
And I think you are going to get everything you wanted in the next 4. I think this was a table setter. Now, what you're going to get is basically, if each episode is 50 minutes, you're going to get a really long movie, which I think is 4 episodes of balls to the wall is good enough. And I think having seen these first 2 episodes and having seen what they did, there were some things that I didn't like. I'm not going to say that I'll sit here and tell you it was a 6 out of 6. I'm not going to tell you it was perfect. There were some things that pissed me off. There's some things that Star Wars is doing right now that I think is annoying that we'll get to in spoilers. Yeah. And they need to cut the shit with that. But I like this character and what is kind of going on.
I just found myself not liking enough of the other characters. And it's sort of one of those things where you're like, all right, without giving anything away from what this show is even about, we just knew in this timeline, Darth Vader is turning into the most feared person in the galaxy or entity in the galaxy. And Obi-Wan Kenobi is still alive and he is in hiding because there's a hunt for all the Jedi. They're trying to massacre all the Jedi. and all the while he's keeping an eye on Luke Skywalker. Like that's one thing that we kind of know.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you knew that anyway.
Yeah,
right?
and you knew
so,
that. So then you're like, all right, let's fill in the gaps. Because like I understand you can't just blow your load and have the first episode be Obi-Wan and Darth Vader being like, hey, buddy, and then they fight. Like I get it. I am not asking for that to be the first thing.
And one of the things I was wondering, and one of the things they do address, and I don't think this is a spoiler. He didn't know that Anakin was alive.
Right.
So I mean, there's no way he could have, right? So that's like,
yeah.
I think that scene was like, oh shit.
And he's very good, by the way. Ewan McGregor's
great, and he's kind of morphing into Alec Guinness, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
like the way he talks and the way he moves and the way he like.
I wonder what they're gonna do though, because they are 9 years removed from him looking like Alec Guinness. So don't you think he is gonna have? This is sort of a jump ahead, but when he fights Darth Vader again, something's gonna happen to him, like when Mace Windu fought Darth Sidious, he fucking made him look old.
Yeah, there was like something there was the force like took it out of him or something. Yeah. So I there's something like that.
Yeah.
Where he ages.
Yeah.
Like that, there's something has to kind of happen, or it doesn't. I mean, who gives a shit?
It doesn't really matter.
Space. It's making
that part like that, and that's not even my hang up by any means. But I think he to this point, it's only 2 episodes. He is far and away the best character. I thought there was like one other new character I kind of liked, and then a bunch of other ones, and then even some that we had seen animated, I didn't think translated as well to the show.
And there was one new character who was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Who I actually enjoyed.
We might be talking about the same one.
I think we are too. Yeah.
Yeah, so to me, like the setup and the storyline was kind of a letdown. Like I don't like them dealing with fucking, they got to go back to the kids and they got to do like this shit again. Like I didn't need that part of it. I think the payoff, you're right. The payoff probably will be great.
Right.
But we're only talking about the first 2 episodes. Like
we're only talking about the first 2 episodes, and it was to me it was a nice table setting. It was and I think getting all of that out of the way, hopefully, I mean, I'm this is me hoping. Hopefully, what it's doing is getting all that out of the way to make room for the meal. I'm going very, very culinary right now, but setting the table to put the main course on, which you need these 2 characters. One chasing the other.
I wonder if part of their because remember this was going to be they didn't announce the release date for a while, and then they eventually, like, we all thought it was going to be on May the 4th. They eventually put it out on the anniversary of when A New Hope came out, and then because of Star Wars Celebration, they had other things they wanted to tease. Long story short, they didn't announce it for a while, and then they were like, oh, we're going to release the first 2 episodes on one day, and then it's going to be episodic or one at a time after that. I wonder if they kind of knew, we need to get to this pretty quick. Imagine if episode 1 was 1 week and then you had to wait a whole week and then you got episode 2. I'd be like, the fuck are we doing here?
Exactly. So I think that it's like WandaVision. And I wrote that down. It's basically the same thing WandaVision did, was like, you need to kind of like get this out of the way. Like we need to do this in one fell swoop, and then so we can get to the rest of the shit.
Yeah. Right. And for people wondering who watched the or whether you did or whether you didn't, the Clone Wars and Rebels, they're both very good. They both do have, unfortunately, like filler that's not as good, but the best of the best, like all Star Wars stuff, the best of the best is some of my favorite stuff in TV movies. And then the worst stuff is just pretty bad. But this says that this takes place 10 years after episode 3 and therefore 9 years before episode 4. And the TV show Rebels took place 5 years before New Hope, therefore after this.
So you're going to run into them.
They could, if they do the show long enough, or if they take another little of a skip. Yeah, they may not. Yeah, right.
I'm making a face, but you get a little nibble of that. Yeah,
a little bit, right. And so anyway, if you're wondering, and because some of the characters were in Rebels that are in this, then you would we're not there yet. This predates that. Right. What, again, only taking the 2 episodes that we've seen, which is hard. What is this trending towards on a dork score? And we can't
for
know
me right now. I just the first 2, it's a 4.5 for me right now.
Oh my god,
Yeah, I just trend. That's good. I mean, it's pretty good.
That's good.
I liked it more than you did, and I liked most of it.
I couldn't fucking believe it. I was just like, and we'd seen this in the trailer, like the Inquisitors didn't look right to me. Like the Grand Inquisitor looks like an asshole, and in the Rebels, he's kind of scary. And then the new Inquisitor, I think she stinks. And then the other guy, Reva, yeah, like the fifth sister or whatever they call her.
I think she's the third sister.
Sister. No use for her. Not intimidating, not cool,
here's
not badass.
There's something going on with her that when we get to spoilers that I think.
All right, you tell me. I will say the guy who I think is like the third brother, the guy like he looks like a hammerhead shark.
Yeah,
he actually translates pretty well. I do like him.
Yeah,
I think he's fine. But the Grand Inquisitor could be a cool character, and I'm just like, there's something about the dude's face. I'm like, not selling for me. Like he's supposed to be pretty scary, like with the makeup and the fucking cape and everything else. And you're like, this guy looks like a fucking.
He looks like he looks like fucking Brainiac from Green Lantern.
A little bit he does.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else non-spoiler? So again, my reasons for not liking it, I'll get into more in depth and spoilers, but just off the rip, it reminded me too much of either bad episodes of Boba Fett or the prequels. Outside of Ewan McGregor and like a couple other characters, the acting doesn't bother me that much. I think it was awful. The dialogue was pretty poor in parts, and if you're only basing it on the 2 episodes, the one character that we all wanted to see, you really didn't yet. So you
haven't seen that episode yet.
There's also that part of it.
Yeah. So you might want to hang on if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. And again, I think kid actors are tough, and not to pile on kid actors. Like they're out there making a living for their parents the best they can. Yeah. But I just more often than not, I'm not a huge.
I'm going to put this in the chat. Right? I can't put it in the chat right
now. I'm going to queue up the spoilers then.
Do it, yeah.
Spoilers! Here come the spoilers!
All right. Let me get this out of the way right now.
Yeah.
The Princess Leia storyline, I have zero interest in. I don't like the character. I don't need it. I don't need young Leia or real old Leia in my Star Wars, as it turns out. Like episode 4, 5, 6 Leia, great character. Don't need it any other time. And that chase scene where Flea and 2 other bounty hunters are chasing her in the woods, and they can't catch a 10-year-old who doesn't even run fast for a 10-year-old.
No.
She's a slow-footed 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And they like are running into each other like it's a comedy routine. I'm like, that was horrible. And then they're like, hey, we're going to double down on how bad that was. Again. We're going to have Obi-Wan chase her in another later.
I know you can't see it on camera, but what it says on my notes is Leia getting chased was lame.
It was the lamest.
Now,
twice.
It happened twice, and it happened twice in one episode, which lame.
Stinks.
Because you said like she like ducked under a tree, and then like a full human adult, or not human, but like a full adult was like running, like they didn't see the whole log in front of them and smacked into it. So like, terrible. Flea's a terrible actor too, by the way.
Terrible. Flea
and so I like Leia being part of this only because she knows him. Like when episode 4 happens and she sends him the message, she needs to know who he is.
Okay.
So that's setting that up is fine. Hopefully we don't see her again.
I hope not either. And obviously, like they're setting it up and like they're trying to get Obi-Wan and they know the connection. But it was also fucking lame too, where they're like, so Jimmy Smits is back and like good for him. And he's like, he convinces Obi-Wan, who's like, I can't leave my post, I can't do it. And he's like, well, fucking this one's pretty important too.
Yeah.
And so he convinces him to go, but then he gets in there. He saves her, which is also kind of like classic. Hey, remember when Luke saved Leia? He's like the same bullshit where he breaks in and she's in like a little holding cell. But he gets in there and they have no way. He has no way. There's not like a code word. There's not something he can say that his dad said. So then there's that stupid 10 minutes of like she doesn't trust him. And you're like, just fucking skip that part. And then she's like, oh, if you're a Jedi, you could like move something with your mind. He's like, well, I can't do that. I'm like,
so do you think, so in my mind, he was like, because Jedi can shut themselves off from the Force. Because you can, did he do that until like, because you can actually like, because then people can find him. You know, so
yeah, so there's that, but like, so maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't need to actually use the Force, but there had to be something where she's like, if Jimmy Smits was like, "Hey, tell her that every Tuesday she has waffles" or something like that, then she would know for a fact that like the dad sent her or some bullshit line like that.
Right.
Code word cinnamon.
So here is my biggest pet peeve with the current Star Wars things.
Lay it on me.
Cut the shit with the cameos. Not every famous person who loves Star Wars needs to be in Star Wars. I love Kumail Nanjiani. I love the music of Flea. I don't like him as an actor. Cut the shit with the cameos. Like, we don't need famous people like in it. It's distracting at this point.
Yeah, the Flea one definitely was.
And Kumail Nanjiani, who's like, he's on his way to being like an A-list actor. Like,
yeah, he's a big star now. Yeah.
People know who he is. Stop. Like, I get it that he's like a huge Star Wars fan, but like, hide them. You know how they used to like Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Like, hide them.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. Or what's his name? Simon Pegg was the guy who was giving Rey her rations.
Right.
Like, hide them that way. You don't have to like bring
that
A-list
one was
people.
That one was weird. Although I do like the idea
of fake Jedis.
Yes.
I like that too. And he's all things being equal, like anyone could have done that.
Yes,
right?
For sure. Although you say that, and the other Jedi that was there that in episode 1 tracked down Obi-Wan to give him his lightsaber.
That's Benny Safdie.
He can't act at all.
That's Benny Safdie, the director of Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
And he was in Good Time. He was with Robert Pattinson. He is not a very good actor.
I had a bad time watching him act. It was
nice. But again, another fucking cameo.
Right.
That we don't, why is Benny Safdie in?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I also love this. So the Jedi have been hunted for 10 years.
Right.
Right. And now they're officially like specifically looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's like, should I change my look or wardrobe? No. I'm going to wear and look the exact same as I have for 10 years and then another 10 years.
Well, I like that the Grand Inquisitor has that line where he's talking about it's like an itch. Like, they can't not be themselves. They can't.
Yep. That's pretty good.
That's what, and I like the idea that the Inquisitors are basically a group of former Jedi who turned during Order 66.
Yeah.
That they somehow gave them the option and they were like, yeah, we're bad now.
Yeah, which is great. And I think that that helped make the Rebels show good. Again, there's filler in Rebels, but the good stuff in Rebels is like great Star Wars stuff.
Right. And I loved when the Inquisitor showed up because they were definitely going for like that Christoph Waltz Inglourious Bastards vibe.
Yeah.
When they were looking for the Jedi in the bar.
Yeah.
Like that. They were trying. It was like the Star Wars version of that, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. No, that was good. But again, like Christoph Waltz's character was and for a guy that was like small, yet still like you were on edge the whole time. Now that's also a master class in acting. Like that's one of the great scenes ever.
Mm-hmm.
But like this just wasn't the same to me. Like I don't know what it was about that guy. And it's also tough. But although then again, like Cad Bane from the animated show to real life was incredible. And you're like, oh my God. So if they can do that with Cad Bane, I wish they did that with the Grand Inquisitor.
Do you remember, like, I keep going back to it. I'm thinking about that scene where you see him and you go, no, I said out loud, I'm 40 years old. I said out, I go, no fucking way. And with a huge smile on my face, when you see him walking towards, like, I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
But that was the thing. Like, Book of Boba Fett really sums up like being a Star Wars fan for the last 20 years. Like you get like big tastes of it being awesome. And you're like, this is what I want. And I don't care if it's fan service. I'm a fan. Yeah. And you get like the dark saber and you get all the Mandalorian stuff and you get Cad Bane. But then you also just like nonsense episodes and just like bullshit side characters they end up not caring about at all. And I felt like this now again, it ends with Obi-Wan. Now, do you think that they could have done a little bit better job, or did you like the reveal of Obi-Wan finding out that Darth Vader was still alive?
I think I'm pissed about it because I don't think Reva should have been the one to tell him.
I agree. I don't know how. I'm not a writer, but that moment should have been better.
It was kind of like I was pissed, and not only am I pissed that I don't think the Grand Inquisitor's dead. He can't be, right?
He can't be. He's in Rebels 4 years later.
Right,
so
they're going to throw him in a back. He's going to throw him in a back to tank, and he's going to be fine. Like eventually, but like What I think is going on with Reva is that she desperately wants to be in with Vader, and she will do anything she can to be his sidekick because
for sure.
she's an outcast. She's not really supposed to be there. She's not even supposed to be there. Right. So I think she is trying to latch on to him and get in his good graces in order to become, one of the more powerful.
That's what she's trying to do. But like, it's just when you have 3 Inquisitors coming at you, and one of them has like, even though I think it's not a great job, he's got like the face paint, he's got the cape, he's got the fucking look. The other guy's got the hammerhead thing, and then it's just like random lady. You're like, come on, like you can't make her like. There's nothing that stands out about her in my mind.
Yeah. What I did like too, someone brought it up in the chat too. Timora Morrison being like a down on his luck clone trooper. See, that cameo makes sense.
That one's great. I'm glad that
because
that was a great part. And then it was Obi-Wan also seeing him, and it's like Obi-Wan looking into his past because he's been so separated by it. But if you go and watch Clone Wars, or even if you just watch Attack of the Clones, he's dealing with those guys all the time. Like he knows all those guys. He was working with them forever in like different battles and shit. And then he
probably low key wanted to kill him like right then and there because they're Order 66 and all that stuff. So, but I love
a good point.
It has to make sense that it's Timora Morrison because they're fucking clones, and that's what he looks like.
I also like that they got Joel Edgerton back to be Owen Lars. He has a couple of good lines. His scene's fine. I had no problem with him.
But that again, that's the cameo that makes sense.
Yeah, that's not even a cameo. That's just like a reoccurring character type thing. But I don't know. I was disappointed in it. I really was.
It'll pick up. I think this will pick up. I think you'll be surprised when it's.
I think you're right. I think you're probably right. And it is, again, like half the shows we watch now release them all at once and then half the shows don't. And then it obviously is a very different viewing experience.
So here's the loop that has to get closed for me. If we're looking ahead to like what, okay, so eventually Obi-Wan has to go back to Tatooine, right? Because that's where he meets Luke. Like he has to get back there eventually, right?
Oh, 100%. He's gonna go right back to where he's living right now, where he can spy on him like a creep.
Right. So, like, how does he get back there without anyone finding him again? Not only that, how does he keep Vader from getting his own kids?
Yeah, right. So Vader,
he knows
back and then doesn't know, and then there's some speculation. I wonder, like, Obi-Wan didn't want to leave his post. He was just gonna stare at Luke this entire time until Luke. He's been doing this for 10 years apparently. So that's a long time. And by the way, he'd be way crazier if he was by himself for 10 years.
By himself. Well, he has his little camel horse.
He's got his camel horse, and he talks to Qui-Gon, I guess, but still. And so I wonder if something happens to Luke, and then that way Obi-Wan is like at that point, like, I left once, I can never fucking leave again, and I'm going to be here this the whole time.
And does Vader find him?
I wonder, because then that's going to get tricky with the Vader stuff, because doesn't he learn that his kids are alive and that there's 2 of them? Like, doesn't he learn that in episode?
But how do you get him to stay away?
Oh, I know. I don't know. And also, like, what's he been doing? Like, so they cut to the final 2 minutes is, to me, the best 2 minutes of the first 2 episodes, where Obi-Wan finds out, even though, again, he could have found out probably in a cooler way, but he finds out, and then it cuts to Vader in like a tank, and you see he's all fucked up, like his skin and everything is all messed, all burned.
He's a fucking mess.
Guy's a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
But like, remember at the end of episode 3, they're putting the fucking full suit on him, and that's when he's screaming, no, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
What year was that? So I'm wondering, like, I'm looking.
So that was 10 years ago.
So he's been Vader this whole time. He's just currently in like a little tank to like recover. Right?
That's where he like sleeps. Like, I think that's where he, if he does sleep, I think that's, yeah.
It is a good reveal of him though. Like, it's scary. He's got the tubes in him. He's got the mask on. Like, he's scary. Like,
that's how he stays alive. And I remember there's a line. He's like, he's more machine than man now. Like, he's not really a person.
100%.
So that's how he keeps it going,
Oh, and like, trust me, I'll probably end up loving the show because just anything with him. Like we talked about the scene in Rogue One. Rogue One's one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and it's a really good movie. Don't get me wrong, but that one scene is like what puts it over the top. It's
I
like
want him fucking mowing people down.
I want him destroying everybody.
Yeah, like he finds out that Reva tried to kill the Grand Inquisitor and just fucking cuts her head off. Like,
yeah,
right then and there.
Because Reva's not in Rebels, and so you can kill her and there's no ramification. Whereas like Reva stabs Grand Inquisitor, like you said, but like he has to come back somehow or whatever. And same with the dude with the hammerhead shark outfit.
But like she's like, well, I want Kenobi. He's like, not as fucking bad as I do, and I have this team in place to do this. I set this whole thing up. So you're gonna screw that. I want him to like her explaining it to him.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to curry favor, and there's like they're staring, like you get like that over the shoulder shot of him and her.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just hear like the lightsaber turn on and she drops.
Yeah.
And him just like walking by like it was nothing.
That'd be
like,
sick.
Don't fucking do that. And in front of everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. Now, do you think
like,
we get Darth Sidious in this?
I hope so. And I hope that I want it to be akin to, and it's never going to happen because it's Star Wars, but like, remember the scene in Breaking Bad, Box Cutter, when Fring was just like, the guy's name? He just fucking slit his throat.
Yeah.
Like, I want him to do that with Reva in front of everybody.
In front of everybody. Oh, yeah. I want to see that too.
Now you do. You're like, oh, I'm kind of in on it.
I do. No, listen, they at least ended it in a note where you're like, oh, shit. Like, here we go. But again, only basing it off the 2 episodes. Like, I thought the 2 episodes were terrible. But again, it doesn't mean that the series will be. But unfortunately, it's 2 out of 6. Like, it's a third of the show we've already seen.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. Now I'm getting my like, or what if he's like, explain it to me why you did that. Explain to me why you did that.
Yeah.
And he lets her go for a little bit, and then all of a sudden she's in the middle of talking and she starts going like,
yeah, oh, he's choking people out for sure.
Yeah, he's like, explain to me why you killed like a superior officer. And she's like, oh, well, I just want to blah, blah. And all of a sudden, it's just like, yeah.
Because this has to be the time. And it's the same thing with Rebels and Rogue One. But this is the time, like, he really doesn't do a whole lot of shit in episode 4, 5, and 6.
The idea is he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to. Well, and why doesn't he have to? Because he wrecks shit for 19 years. Fucks
19 years.
19 years. And this is in the sweet spot. So now, like, he has to be like to the point where nobody even gets a hit in. Like, it's just flawless victories the whole way through.
And that's all, just mowing people down
until Obi-Wan, which is going to be an interesting battle, because how is it a good battle where they both survive it?
Like, somebody has to step in and like kind of get in between them. Maybe it's Qui-Gon. Maybe Liam Neeson does show up. Maybe it's Qui-Gon talks to both of them.
Maybe. I mean, you have I don't know. Could Ahsoka Tano pop up? I guess she could. She won't. Maybe. She's got her own show coming out. She probably
or maybe she does won't. Because she has her own show. But like someone said, Boba Fett has to show up.
I mean, possible.
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Well, they already got you already got the actor who plays him he's
already in there. He's
already cast.
Put him in a different suit. He's good.
He's fine.
Bad Batch.
That was my fucking Bad Batch could be there. Yeah, like, what do you want to see next? I mean, that really is what it is. It's like just sort of like
I just want to see. If he doesn't know. I mean, he knows Obi-Wan was alive, right? So I want him like I said, I'd want fucking unleashed Vader.
Actually, I don't know if he knows if Obi-Wan's alive, because he was probably told
that all the Jedi were gone.
Although
they're going to go tell him now.
Now the Inquisitors are going to be like, we still haven't found Obi-Wan.
We found him. Like, he's not dead.
Knows Obi-Wan's still out there. Yeah. No, right. No, I take it back, because clearly the Inquisitors are out there specifically for Obi-Wan. So Vader must know that he's alive. You're right.
Well, I mean, he could just be like, go if he's alive, find him. I don't know for sure, but like,
what Justin in the chats? What about Yoda?
Yoda would be good.
Yoda's hiding. He's out in Dagobah. You can go find him.
He's in the swamp.
Swing in there.
So, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go with this. Filoni knows more than I do. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't know how to spell Jason Tatum's name. I don't know more Star Wars than Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau or even Bryce Dallas Howard for that matter. So, like,
no.
But
you know what?
I want to see some fucking carnage though.
I do. I saw so bad. It's gonna be so good. Like he doesn't have to do shit if he's just in the suit and he slowly turns on the saber and the red saber comes out. You're like 6 out of 6 episode.
Or like you get one of the Inquisitors like talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And the person kind of does one of these, like I'm looking in the camera and then like kind of like looking up into the left.
Yeah.
And just like
backing
away and like
sweet mother of God. Yeah. Like, he's so much better than we are.
Because just the silhouette, like the shape of him, because he's huge.
Yeah.
You know,
I was talking, I still haven't, this is how scared I am. I was on my Oculus and I was looking, I'm like, should I pull the trigger on that Star Wars game? And so I was like watching the trailer. I'm like, I think I would shit my pants if I was in like a dark room and playing the game and all of a sudden like a hallway and everything's quiet and then you just hear
yeah.
And then like the saber comes out. That's fucking scary. I'm like,
he's just coming at you like
yeah, I'm terrified. That's nuts.
You see like crying. Like he's just crying.
In the fetal
lay
position,
down. Like stop.
my own piss and blood. Like, what the fuck happened? I was playing.
We need to get you stream. We need to set you up with a stream where you playing the Oculus would be the fucking funniest thing.
It'd be so good.
It would
I'd
be
be
so
good. Dude, I'd be terrified. I know I would be. That's why I'm like so nervous to buy those games. I'm like, I have a giant baby. Is what it comes down to. But anyway, we'll stick with this. So we'll do a season ending. But like you can understand why I didn't like it, right?
I understand. No, I understand. There's a lot of like I think I'm a little bit more patient with these things than you are.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there's the thought that like, okay, we got 2 episodes to burn. Now the next 4 are going to be great. Versus you who are like, you only have 6 episodes, so you got to come out swinging, right?
Let's get
you got to go for gasps.
Yeah.
All 6. Like I want to come out of the gate, 88 out of the gate. But
I think like now that I'm looking at it, like if they just shot it the same, but the Inquisitors were more badass, I might have been able to handle it. Yeah. But I was like, they just seemed kind of lame to me. And I was like,
well, maybe that's it. Maybe they're like,
that's kind of
lame because when the bad motherfucker like, shows up, you're like, oh, that's the guy.
Right.
Like, what's that?
That's good point.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Like, every Inquisitor I seem like, you're not that guy, pal. Until that guy shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So,
all right. So,
how old that guy's doing all right, by the way? The You're Not That Guy, pal guy of viral fame. I hope he's doing all right. Do you ever see that one? Kids giving him a hard time in a supermarket. You ever saw this? There was like a viral video.
I probably have. Yeah.
Kids are like mouthing off to some guy, and he looks right at the kids like, "You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy." Like every 40-year-old middle-aged person wants to like some 18-year-old kid, like, bro, like you're not that guy.
Yeah.
You know, so like every Inquisitor is like, oh yeah, you're a big tough guy, and then Big Tough shows up, and you're like, oh fuck,
that's a fuck.
Yeah.
Although you know what's now a show that if people end up really liking this, which they're gonna have to probably end up doing, is they can find another window right after episode 3 where they show like how they recruited the Inquisitors, because
could do that, yeah.
There had to be a moment where you're like, I'm gonna fucking kill this Jedi. The Jedi's like, nope, I'll work on your team. And you're like, how can you trust that? And then Vader ends up training them. Like Vader and Sidious end up like kind of training them a little bit of dark side stuff. So because then there's the whole rule of 2 still, you know what I mean? So that's one of the confusing parts of it is like, so they can work for them. So it's not like because they're not technically Sith lords, right? They're just like they work for the Sith.
They're ex-Jedi, yeah.
They're ex-Jedi, but they dabble in the dark side. It's a great.
Well, they dabble. They're not good. I don't think they're very good at it. And that's
probably
like to your point. I don't think they're very good at it because
that's probably true.
But they know how to hunt Jedi. They know where to look for them because they've been through it. You know,
that's true. All right. Anything else?
That's it, man.
All right. Let us know what you guys think. dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Also, Dork Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Because I know I tweeted out that I didn't like it, and a lot of people responded that it was great, and they didn't know what I was talking about. What I was looking for.
That was good. I'm not overly impressed with it, but it's a good table setter.
All right. Let us know.
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb.
All right, Ryan, would you like to kick, receive, defer, or you may also choose at this time to defend a goal?
I will kick. I will punt to you this week.
All right. I just started listening to a podcast. Actually, we talked about it, I think, on this podcast, but the Fly on the Wall podcast with Dana Carvey and David Spade. Oh no, we did.
Oh yeah, no, we did. Yeah, I did.
We
I
did.
listened to the episode with Bill Hader and who was the other one? It was
Mike Myers.
No, it was one of those people.
Johnny Knoxville.
No, it doesn't matter. But go.
Anyway,
continue.
yeah. So I went through because I'm kind of we talked about this before.
Sarah Silverman, but it was the Sarah Silverman episode. Yeah.
The Always Sunny podcast has kind of run its course for me. Like I liked that at first, and I'm kind of like,
I liked it, and then they only talk about the episode for like 10 minutes, and it's an hour-long podcast.
They barely do. They must be bored of it, I guess. But
yeah.
So it's a good podcast, and like especially if you love SNL. And so I listened to Ben Stiller, which is like an amazing story about how he was on the show for 5 episodes and then left, and then 2 years later did the Ben Stiller show and won the Emmy for best comedy. Best comedy, beating out SNL. I listened to Bill Hader, Tim Meadows. I'm currently listening to Mike Myers. So there's a good crop of them on there. You can kind of ping pong around. So. Good. Oh yeah, good crop.
Mm-hmm.
Good
and
crop.
they do get like really good.
Yeah.
What was Dennis Miller's nickname for David Spade? I forget. It was like Aces or something like that.
Oh, I haven't listened to that. They both have good Dennis Miller impressions.
That's babe. Everyone's babe. Yeah.
Would you argue? And one of my favorite things that Dana Carvey says now, it's like a recurring thing. He's like, so say there's a take that's not like unanimous, but it's like, yeah, it's a good take. Like say you were like Tom Brady's the greatest like pro sport athlete of all time in any sport. Again, it's super debatable.
You could make the argument.
You could make
and
the
people
argument.
Would be like, it's a viable argument. Yeah.
So Dana Carvey's line is always, if you told me right now that Tom Brady's the greatest sports athlete thing or whatever of all time, I wouldn't slug you in the face. so he said. So anyway, because he said, if you told me Bill Hader is the best SNL cast member of all time, I wouldn't slug you in the face.
No, and I think the combination of him and Mulaney. Once I found out that the character of Stefan,
wrote all his jokes.
It's a recurring joke between the two of them.
Yeah,
we're like, that was like, all right, I'm going to write the jokes for you, and you don't know what they are. So like, I thought that makes it 10 times funnier. It's almost like my favorite thing now that Michael Che and Colin Jost do is the end of the year when they write the jokes for each other. Like that's my favorite, and I think that's possible because of that. So, but Bill Hader, his impressions, he might be like one of the best impressionists that that show has ever seen.
Yeah, I would say Daryl Hammond jumps out to me as like spot on, and like that was kind of all he could do. It's not even a rip on him, but like that's But you're right, Hader was great. Dana Carvey was fantastic.
He was good too. Yeah,
I think Dana Carvey, you can make a case as top 5 all time.
I think so. I never got the church lady. People were like super excited about that. I thought it was too like he was too like catchphrasey.
Yeah, maybe top 5 strong, but I thought he was really, really good. And like Mike Myers is right in that mix. Then obviously like Will Ferrell, Bill Hader, Eddie Murphy. Right.
Anyway, so speaking of SNL, so my pick, one of the other great Weekend Update people of all time, and this is a little sad, so I'm going to give you that right now. So this just came out this week. It's called Norm Macdonald, Nothing Special. So Norm Macdonald was really sick. He couldn't book during COVID. He couldn't book any clubs. So he actually recorded himself doing his last stand-up special, just like we're doing it right now. Him and a microphone, headphones on, in his living room, and he did it in one take. Like typical, and it's fucking funny. Like
I haven't watched it. I'm looking forward to it. I gotta.
It's weird because there's no crowd laughter, and there's a lot of like. But anyway, so there's no. The pacing's a little weird, but the jokes. If you just listen to the jokes he's telling, like there was one. It happens right in the beginning, but he's talking about like his gambling problem and how like casinos, like he would do a show at a casino and they'd pay him in chips. And he was like, one of my favorite things to do is like, you don't need to know, roulette's not a hard game, but one of my things I used to love to do is I would go to a roulette and they'd be like red, and I go, fuck, I almost said that. Like, oh my God, fuck, I almost said, like, I don't know why, like the way he delivers it is so funny. The delivery's still there, but it's a little sad that that's kind of his last stand-up special, but it's good. Like the material's very, very good,
man. Yeah, I'll have to check that out for sure. What is it, like an hour?
It's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh wow. All right. Well, I'll certainly watch that. I gotta watch that.
Oh, and one thing I don't watch don't watch the new Ricky Gervais special. I didn't like it.
I'm 15 minutes in and I thought it was good so far, but
here's my problem. And we talked about this a little bit. So we do like a pick of the pod and then like a non-pick of the pod. Right?
Yeah, we call that I watched it, so you don't have to.
Right. So one of the things that I always appreciated about Ricky Gervais, one, his shows I think are genius. And where he's strongest in stand-up is when he's taking people down a peg. And there's a whole thing he talks about, like comedy should punch up, not punch down. Right.
Yeah. Carlin said that.
But he that's what he says it in his special.
Got it.
This seemed mean.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it seemed like when he makes it, there was a great joke he told about Harvey Weinstein about like how like, and he looked at the audience, it was like the Golden Globes or something. He's like, fucking don't me, like you did it. Like I didn't do it. You did it. You know what I mean? So like, but there's like calling people out for their bullshit, right? And I feel like he's doing that to groups of people that he doesn't have to. And it just comes off as like mean-spirited.
Yeah.
Like kind of shitty. And his attitude is like, he even references like I made all my money. I don't give a shit anymore. Like I don't have it anymore. It doesn't matter. Like I can do whatever I want. If you cancel me, I don't give a fuck. I have all the money I know I could ever spend.
Do you think
and that's kind of the attitude.
Do you think his special has anything to do with like Chappelle and like how people...
Well, that's the thing. So like he starts with transgender people.
I heard some of those. Yeah.
And he had to be aware of like Chappelle's taking heat for that.
I know.
So
and
like he leans into it.
Right. And they're both on Netflix too, which is
right. And so like, why would you do that? Like, and to me, that's just like, it's just taking the piss just to like get a reaction out of people, which I hate that. Like just to like go at people's weak spots just to get a rise out of them is something that fucking drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't care for it.
It was only an hour and I started it and then I'm like, I'll go back and I'll watch this later. But yeah. So
you'll see. Tell me what I'm interested in.
I'll watch it anyway and I'll let you know. Yeah. All right. Well, very good. Next week is Dork 300. We don't really know what we have planned.
You're going to line all of you up, everyone listening. We're going to line you up in front of a well and just kick you down the well.
Right.
Because 300.
This is Dork.
Yeah. Kick you in the kick. I think I'm bleeding inside my chest.
Kick you so hard in the chest.
Yeah.
But feel free to send us questions because it may end up turning into sort of just like a conversation. Maybe we'll do a pizza party or, somebody will bring cake. And 300 episodes.
Like a little popper.
Dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Maybe we can even do some of the best of the should I have bought this. We can dust off some of those.
Some of the worst.
Some of
the best are also some of the worst.
Yeah, I kind of consider them about the same, really. So we could do that. You guys can tweet at us and shoot us messages on the old Instagram. Follow us on YouTube as well, youtube.com/dorkpodcast, where we stream these episodes. And you can always go back and watch them again. Anything else? Any other ideas for next week?
Pizza party sounds good.
Pizza party would be great.
Yeah.
What are you going to get on your pizza?
Cheese.
Sweet. All right.
Ray Liotta
passed away. Shit. I'll probably do it.